Moving into a new house is always exciting, but I had no idea how creepy things were about to become. The house itself was small, a post-war house in an older part of town, but it had a cute front porch, and I made sure to get that small space comfortable first. The first evening I was there, I sat out enjoying the warm evening breeze, planning how to set up my front garden, when a car pulled up across the street from my house. I thought nothing of it at first, until I noticed the driver taking pictures of my house. They lingered for a few minutes before driving away. Puzzled and more than a little unnerved, I brushed it off as a curious passerby, maybe someone who thought the house was still on the market, and tried to put it out of my mind. But when the same car returned the next day, and the day after that, I couldn't shake the feeling that I would have to confront them the next time I saw that car. Things took a turn for the worse when I arrived home late one evening, exhausted from work. I settled in to watch TV under a cozy blanket and must have fallen asleep, because I woke to hear a knock-knock, soft and insistent, echoing from the front door. A chill ran down my spine as thoughts of the nightly drive-by photographer crashed into my mind. Equally scared and curious, I approached the front door, heart pounding, and peered through the peephole only to find nothing. There was no one standing on the other side of the door. I waited and listened, but when all I heard was silence, I opened the door and peered outside. No car idled in front of the house. It was as if the knock had never happened at all. I wondered if maybe it had been a dream or a sound from the TV. But the nightmare was far from over. Later that night, as I was getting into bed, I saw that I had a new message from a number I didn't recognize. "My name's Mike, and I'm with Stafford County Paranormal Investigators. I've been trying to reach you to follow up on the investigation we did for the former owners of your house. We found tons of paranormal activity, but this one entity shows up repeatedly. I'm not sure it's safe for you to be there. Call me when you can." Attached to the text was a series of pictures, each one more chilling than the last. They were pictures of my house, some with me on the porch, others from before I had moved in. There, in the upstairs window of my new home, stood a figure I didn't recognize, a figure that didn't belong. Terror gripped me as I realized that someone or something was watching me from within the walls of my own home. As I reread the message, I couldn't shake the feeling that I didn't belong, and that the nightmare had only just begun. I was right. I called Mike, and he shared more about his investigation, that the former owners had called him when they started seeing things in the upstairs bedrooms at night. He told me that they were terrified by the time they'd called him and had already put the house up for sale. Because the market was so competitive, I had jumped at the chance to buy it, never considering why they'd only owned it for 8 months. Mike advised an exorcism, and over the next few weeks, the entity revealed itself to me. It started with the sound of growling, which would startle me awake from a deep sleep, the low rumble coming from a dark corner of the room just out of sight. And as I would wake and listen, too terrified to move, the growling would subside. I never knew if it had just gone quiet or if it was gone. I was too terrified to turn on the light the first time I heard it, but the next time I did, there was just black darkness in the corner, deep shadow that the light wouldn't touch until it just faded away. One night I woke, gasping for air, and found my sheet wrapped around my throat, tightening until I could awaken enough to yank it away from my neck. There were sounds of footsteps, doors closing, windows mysteriously being left open. I came home one day to find my back door wide open, but nothing else was out of place. But when the dreams started, I knew I was in trouble. They were always the same. I could see myself climbing up the stairs to the bedroom, my dead husband's voice calling my name. With a feeling of urgency I knew well, I searched for him through the maze of dark rooms until I found him in his hospital bed. Him, but not him. The voice was more gravelly and acidic. I knew it wasn't him, but I was compelled to reach him. The shadowy voice was relentless, forcing me to lean over it on the bed. That's when the true horror of what had called me took shape, and the creature, the bed, the room itself swallowed me whole into darkness and pain. I was waking up drenched in sweat, still feeling the intense pain of breaking bones and fire. The Exorcist is coming at the end of the week.